At exactly 3:10 a.m. on September 21, 2025, a Ukrainian Bayraktar TB2 reconnaissance drone detected a strange deep origin signal inside enemy territory. Two heat signatures appeared on its display, bright, sharp, and clear. The eye targeting system instantly flagged them. Two Russian Me-28M helicopters, each worth around $16 million, had just landed at an air base in Crimea. In the underground UAV control room in Zaporizhia, silence filled the air. The crew knew what it meant: an opportunity. One perfect strike could destroy more than just the helicopters. It could break the entire local supply chain. The two Me-28s had flown for almost 2 hours, carrying more than 60 soldiers and their gear away from the front lines. After landing, the crews rolled the choppers into the maintenance zone for refueling and checks. The atmosphere was relaxed. Pilots laughed, removed their gloves, poured cups of vodka, and celebrated another safe flight. They had no idea that this routine landing had exposed the exact coordinates of their base. Like ants following sugar, Ukraine had just dropped one sugar cube and was ready to burn the nest. At 3:20 a.m., only minutes after the helicopters landed, screens at the Gore Command Center in Zaporizhia flashed red. Infrared satellite imagery captured the heat left by the Me-8 engine still glowing on the ramp. A nearby Bayraktar TB2 drone was immediately redirected. It dropped to 1650 feet, flying low and quiet, entering a blind spot that Nebo-U and Podlet-K1 radars couldn't see. Its lightweight composite body made it appear like a small bird on enemy radar, almost invisible. The drone's cameras and infrared sensors followed the trail of heat from the Me-8s. The video confirmed it. This was not a temporary parking area. Two Me-8s and TB12 maritime reconnaissance aircraft were parked for redeployment. Behind them stood a field of Nebo antennas, capable of detecting low-visibility aircraft and tracking hundreds of targets at once. Reports from human intelligence added more. Hundreds of tons of fuel and ammunition were stored in hangars nearby enough to sustain long operations and pressure Ukraine's defenses. If this base was destroyed, Russia would lose a critical point in its logistics chain. Early warning would fail. Supply lines would crack. Air defense coverage would fall apart. The Ghost Special Operations Unit acted immediately. They upgraded the mission from surveillance to a 3-layered strike plan. A formation of UAVs that had been flying covertly for nearly 2 hours received the order to change course to attack. At 3:25 a.m., the formation was less than 25 miles from the target. Leading were two U-22 decoy drones, flying at 985 feet and about 100 miles per hour. They were unarmed. Their only job was to broadcast strong signals, jamming the 2.4 GHz and 5.8 GHz frequencies, and to make themselves visible. They were meant to draw attention. Just 656 feet behind them flew three Lu-196 attack UAVs of the main strike force. They flew lower, around 490 feet, at speeds between 112 and 124 miles per hour. Each carried a 165-pound shaped charge warhead. They flew in tight formation, silent and independent, no GPS, no external control. The target was the Crimean Air Base. Coordinates had been confirmed less than 5 minutes earlier. At 3:27 a.m., the two U-22 decoys crossed into the first radar zone. A Podlet-K1 radar, about 12.5 miles away, picked up strange contacts. Red alerts blinked. Operators increased scan frequency. The Nebo-U radar switched to full active mode. High-frequency waves swept across the sky. The U-22 signals became sharper. Two unknown objects appeared at about 9,001,000 feet, closing fast. The system tagged them as possible kamikaze drones. The commander ordered full alert. Condition 1. A Panzer S-1 battery on the eastern perimeter went live. Hundreds of rounds were fired. Two explosions flared in the night sky. The wreckage fell 1,650 feet from the airfield fence. The duty officer reported, targets neutralized. The radar crews relaxed. They didn't know the real strike was still coming. As Nebo-U turned its radar beam northwest, the three Lu-196s moved in. The lead drone turned slightly to 10 break from its original path. The two others stayed tight, dropping below 330 feet, skimming the trees near the southern edge of the base. They slipped right through the radar gap created after the decoys were shot down. This was precision timing radar evasion at its best. It's the same tactic that had allowed Ukrainian UAVs to reach Moscow, Kazan, even Astrakhan. While the Russian crews were recalibrating their systems, the strike drones were already inside the outer defense layer. Now less than 10 miles from the base at their current speed, less than 5 minutes to impact. 2 minutes later, they entered the final attack corridor. Lieutenant units in position. The operator confirmed. The drones locked onto their targets, the Mate-8 cluster, the B-12 aircraft, and the Nebo-U radar. On the control screens, infrared images made it clear to Mate-8s exposed on the west ramp, to B-12s at the hangar edge, and the radar tower uncovered. At 3:33 am, Nebo-U detected a faint signal to heat band near ground level. Low-level contact, the sector officer warned. But it was too late. Inside the Ukrainian control room, engineers armed final dive mode. All 3 Lieutenant drones accelerated, descending for their targets. They raced in at 145,155 miles per hour. Each drone, small and light, about 5 feet long, 7 feet wide, built from carbon fiber, was designed for fast, surprise strikes. 30 seconds later, Lieutenant Huan climbed to 600 feet and locked onto the Mate-8 cluster on the west ramp. Lieutenant Tu broke left by 15, targeting the Nebo-U radar. Lieutenant I-3 flew straight toward the B-12s near the refueling trucks. Behind them were more than 1,100,000 pounds of aviation fuel and multiple ammunition storage sites. Countdown: 10, 9, 8, 3, 2, 1. Boom! At 3 hours 35 minutes and 23 seconds, Lieutenant Huan hit a Mate-8 helicopter directly in the engine bay. A blinding flash, then a fireball 330 feet high. The explosion triggered nearby fuel drums. The pressure wave reached 50 pounds per square inch. The second Mate-8, only 15 feet away, was torn apart. Rotor blades flew over to 130 feet, crashing into a hangar roof. A refueling truck flipped over as fire spread rapidly. Less than a second later, Lieutenant I-3 struck the first B-12. The blast ripped the plane apart. Shrapnel punctured fuel tanks, but the second B-12 ignited in a chain reaction. Flames jumped from wing to wing, reaching the maintenance area. At 3 hours 35 minutes and 27 seconds, Lieutenant I-2 smashed directly into the Nebo-U antenna array. The explosion tore through the night sky. Russia's main radar eye was gone. The metal tower collapsed into a pile of burning steel. The shockwave echoed 12 miles away. Locals later said they thought it was an earthquake. Windows shattered up to 1970 feet from the site. The ramp turned into a sea of fire. Infrared satellites showed a massive heat plume over 1320 feet wide above the base. At 3:36 am, Russia's UHF network sent its last message: base under attack. Radar damaged. Aircraft destroyed. Requesting assistance. Then a silence. In under 7 minutes, the strategic air base in Crimea had lost all air control and defenses. The west ramp was completely burned. Black smoke trailed for hundreds of meters. Secondary explosions followed. Fuel tanks, ammo caches, and command vehicles all went up. By 4:15 am, satellite data showed a glowing hotspot over western Crimea, more than 350 meters wide. Videos from Jankoy spread online showing flames, falling metal debris, and soldiers sealing off the area. Maxar satellite images taken that morning confirmed it all. 3 Mate-8s reduced to burnt shells, 1 B-12 destroyed, the Nebo radar collapsed, the ramp scorched across 984 feet. The estimated loss, $180 million. The base lost 100% of its helicopter fleet, its early warning system, its fuel, and ammunition stocks. Logistics were paralyzed. For Ukraine, it was a decisive victory. This wasn't just another strike. It was one of the few remaining expeditionary airfields in central Crimea, a key hub for helicopter redeployments, B-12 patrols, and supply flights to Kherson and Jankoy. With the base gone, Russia had to reroute its southern supply chain. Flights became longer, easier to track. The destruction of Jankoy's radar coverage left a 98-kilometer blind zone open for future Ukrainian operations. Moscow's Ministry of Defense stayed silent for hours. Only short messages appeared online. A technical fire occurred in Crimea. Cause under investigation. But open-source analysts quickly confirmed everything. Before and after satellite mosaics revealed the exact site. Operation Ghost was not just a drone strike. It was a precise, preemptive blow that erased one of Russia's most important air bases. The Nebo radar was gone. The Mate-8 transport cluster destroyed. The B-12 reconnaissance capability crippled. fuel, and ammo burned to nothing. In just a few minutes, 3 low-flying drones turned a secure base into rubble. The message was clear: in modern warfare, timing and tactics can defeat even the most expensive technology.